welcome back to episode 7 of the Young Pro Podcast. I am here with my amazing co-host, Dustin Kupka.
The weather is partly cloudy, a high of 91 degrees.
And we are here interviewing Tyler Dickerson, one of my long-term friends, and he is actually the producer of every show that you guys episode you've watched so far. So we kind of wanted to get his story. He's starting to do more work with us. And I am super happy. Thanks for making it here, by the way.
Absolute long drive, dude. Long drive.
Those of you that don't know, Tyler's my roommate. So we've been living together for about a year and a half. So he helps me a lot on the backside of my video stuff. But yeah.
So he had to come upstairs and
Yeah.
to the right, to the
Set
left.
this all up. He set this all up.
Then I had to get dressed and not just wear a hoodie and shorts this time.
It's a lot easier when you're done.
Yeah, it's a lot
What are
easier.
Some of the mistakes you've kind of seen us make so far, just with the all of us being,
So honestly, I thought it was going to be a lot rougher, like in the beginning, with just like getting you guys comfortable in like an interviewing space, because a lot of the times with like other content I've worked on and other things I've edited, a lot of people just kind of like get a lot of dead air where there's nothing going on and it's like an awkward pause. But you guys have been really good about like talking to the guests and not really having anything like fall off or having any like big spaces where I like need to cut out. So it hasn't really been too much of an issue. Like obviously the first couple episodes we had we had some makeshift gear, but since we've gotten like all the gear together and really nailed down the production side of things, it's gone really smoothly.
I think so too.
I'm really liking this microphone.
I know, it looks so clean.
That being said, I know someday there will be an episode where we have a guest where it just does not click. So I'm putting it out there now. It will happen eventually.
Yes.
But I was like, everybody's been great so far. Everybody's taken to the camera really well. It hasn't really like stage frighted anybody yet, and so that's good.
What was your favorite episode editing so far? Just enjoying watching back.
I really liked the episode with you two because
Good answer.
while it's really cool hearing about like other people, like I know you guys a little bit more personally than anybody else we've interviewed, so it was nice like hearing like you guys share more personal stories and really like get to know how you got into this. Because
what's interesting is, of course, I've never done this before, this whole podcast thing, how it's set up, and you come here, it's awesome. It's just set up. It's you're very professional.
That's Tyler.
So I appreciate that. But the fact that you actually, some guys could just set this up and since you live here, you could just go down. Go downstairs and go down the hall. But you sit here every episode and just listen.
Yeah.
And you're not just just kind of being filling the space. Like you're listening, trying to learn about us and more important about our guests, which. Dude, that's cool. That's so cool. That's way cool. So.
Yeah. I mean, this is since I was like a teenager, this is very much what I've wanted to do. Like I've always been really interested in the production side of things, and like younger on that translated to I wanted to work in like TV and movies. But as like we've seen the world change in the last 10 years, like I really feel like personal content is the way moving forward. Because I mean, like. It takes a TV show and a year to produce a season, but like you go on YouTube, there is new content every day. And if you're willing to like look for it, you can constantly be learning new things. And I think that's super cool. Like
super important. And what's nice is like we've kind of grown together. Like we said that I've known you for 8 years, but we started buckling down for the content when the Essex house happened.
Yeah.
That was like when we really started putting some time. And then we did Crawford Hall too, which Dustin was in on. We shot an episode there. I
was involved with Essex too.
So include yourself in everything. It's not Tyler's episode. But no, I think it's been super awesome, and I
absolutely
probably more times than not definitely like put more weight on him than he was like expecting. But it's super nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of, because you just kind of get lost.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people like it obviously helps that we are good friends, but I feel like a lot of people, like, they're not willing to put in the 10,000 hours to be an expert, to, like, you know, be like, I know my time's worth. So it's like, I really appreciate the time we spent making content, because, like, there's no better way to learn something than just doing it and making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. And that's how you get better. Like, in anything you do, that is the only way to really, like, get better.
And that resonates so much. I literally got goosebumps now to hear. This isn't even a real estate episode, but, like, that applies so much to what people talk about. They just read or do, you know, YouTube, which is great. Like, until you, like, start executing, that's, like, when you're learning, just it hits that compound interest effect, and you just, like, blast up. So,
and I mean, a perfect example, like you were just talking about with, like, it was the Essex house, right? Where it's like, you got screwed. Like, you got screwed. But imagine if you would have quit after that and just been like, I'm going back to the 9 to 5, and this just isn't for me. Like, you learned from that mistake, and you've gotten infinitely better since then. And it's like, every deal since then has been a learning experience that has turned out significantly better. And, you know, I mean, now there's, like, the 57plex and all of that. Like, it is just so much bigger, and learning from those mistakes is how you get there.
So what mistakes kind of have you made on some of your other projects? Not necessarily related to me, but I know you've traveled a bit to Arizona and stuff. What are some of the other mistakes that you've made in your producing of content or creating all those things?
A lot. So I think I've done the stupidest stuff, like leave lens caps on during filming and just not being observant of my surroundings. You have to, when you're running a production, you have to learn at some point that it's impossible to, like, just expect everybody to do what you want them to do. There's a certain level of authority you have to, like, muster up, and, you know, it comes with the time you invest, because, like, when you're starting out, you don't feel like you should be able to tell people what to do, but the more time you put into it, you're like, I know what is going to make this good, and if you just listen to me, we'll get done with this quick, and it'll be so much better. And but I mean, editing is such a hard thing to learn. And I very much was self-taught in the beginning, where I would just, like, film stuff, put it into, I used to use a free software called Lightworks before. I'm on Premiere now, but working with a horrible software that you have to learn everything so rigorously, I think was a good starting point, because then when you do pay for a software that's really good, things are so much easier. So, I mean, like, I've definitely made work and published it online that I've then gone back and privated, because I'm like, I am so much better than this past work.
What do you think the breakdown is between someone who doesn't necessarily make a ton of content and working with somebody who's, like, familiar with it, and in that, like, gap of kind of being able to communicate or to get your story? Like, you want to tell your story exactly how it is, but he probably knows a better way to tell the story. And I know you kind of experienced that with me, because I just throw the camera on you all the time. But what do you think that some of those?
Well, I think it's, I mean, being a newbie, if you will, in this world of, you know, just this content creation and everything, man, it can be intimidating for sure. And I think, you know, personally, I think if you have an environment like Tyler's created, to be just like, dude, like, just be yourself, make the videos, who cares?
Yeah.
And, you know, in a sense where, you know, plus we got he's a good editor, so
he's a great editor.
You know, I mean, just doing this, like, what he's worked with me, you know, just in this podcast, like, I don't feel like I could screw this up. You know, I mean, if we screw it up, move on, right? Yeah. You just kind of, and, you know, getting familiar with, you know, the camera. I mean, you're really good at it, and you just things just come out, you know, come out of your mouth, and you're just like, you just roll with it. I'm like, how the heck did you do that? But it goes back to practice. I think having Tyler, for example, being so relaxed with it's made me feel so much
Super
more.
calm.
Yeah, so much.
That's good.
And
That's probably
Yeah.
that's a really good thing to keep in mind. You are very just so calm with just
I have a very long fuse, a very, very long
Yeah,
fuse.
for sure. Because I mean, when I had, my feelings about this was, I was just like, man, am I gonna be all right with? Am I gonna be okay? Am I gonna have success with this? Because nobody wants to fail. Right?
Yeah,
100%.
And so I think encouraging that environment to that failure is part of the process is okay. Like, that's
Yeah.
a big deal. And Tyler's done a great job in that, and of course, you have too. But
We just talked about it a bunch too. I think just having the conversation
Yeah.
before just expecting someone to do it is really helpful. I mean, we talked about it for a while. And then
Yeah.
eventually, I think Ecology was like, I'm
Dude.
going to find a different agent.
Yeah.
And you're going to be mad at me when we kill it. So
I think here's another thing. Here's another thing. I think everybody has that 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
And we have this 24-hour window, and we have this thing called life, and then we have our priorities and our business and all this stuff. And everybody's trying to take your time,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you're in a competition of time,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's trying to take your money. Everybody's trying to take your time. Everyone's, doing whatever. So to me, it's just adding one more thing, right? I'm just like listening to you. I mean, like, you want to do all this content, it's just one more thing for me to have to do, right? From the time of, but you have created, you have shown me, both of you have, value, what this content can do for your life, right? Because you guys live this, man. Like,
Yeah.
This is, and it's uncomfortable enough. So if it's uncomfortable, I don't want to do it. Plus, it takes my time, takes my money. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
Where I can go over here and spend time and money, and I know I feel good about it because I'm good at it,
Yeah.
and I can get that return. And it feels good.
Yeah.
Here, it's completely outside my comfort zone, and I got to spend time, money. And so, what you guys have done a good job of showing me the value of, hey, take this time. We're going to help you. Fail forward. Who cares? Like, you're not going to screw this up. So to me, it's like, I can hang out with my buddies and do some content. Like, cool.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so here we are, episode whatever.
7.
Seven.
Yeah.
So I would have been gone. I don't think I would have done it. But yeah, you pressured me to say, dude, and Tyler, you too. Like, dude, we're doing this with or without you. And I'm like, I had a conversation with my wife about this. I'm like, and she's like, I think you should do it.
let's go, Allison. Whatever camera let's
She was a decide. She's kind of like, I think you're gonna kick yourself. Get started on the ground level here and learn. And so here we are. So,
That's awesome.
I think,
I do have a question though.
yeah.
From a standpoint of work with brand new people
Mhm.
like, in this content world, like, I mean, what's your take? What's your perspective of why you think people don't get into it, that don't want to get started creating content, doing this? And
So I think like 10 years ago, it was a lot easier to get started because there wasn't a quality threshold. But I think in today's day and age, there is like a level of like, you're going to have to spend money to start. And it's kind of like what you're talking about. People are like, why would I spend $500 getting a content set up when I can go and take that and like take my girlfriend out on a date and like we could go on a small trip? And I think the biggest thing is fear of failure. I think so many people are scared to fail and they have this concept that it's like, oh, well, there's already popular content creators out there. Why would I do it? And it's like, do you know how often I'm like looking for something to watch and I'm like, oh, I've already seen all this. Like, I wish more people would make content because there's so much time in a day for people to view something that it's like anything that you consider yourself good at. I feel like there's almost a certain level of like, you should want to put it out there. Like, you should feel like I've learned this and I wish I had these resources when I was learning. I should put it out there so when the next generation comes, they have a much easier time getting into it. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think content is something to where it's like, not only is it helpful for other people and it's helpful for like measuring your knowledge basis as it grows, but I mean, this is also going to be a digital scrapbook that will last forever. Like, this is something to where in like 20 years, you can look back on the first episode and be like, wow, this is where I was 2 decades ago compared to where I am now. And I feel like that's such a special thing because it's like, you know, fires happen, floods happen, you can lose photo albums, memory cards can break, but if it's online, it exists forever, which is a scary thought. Yeah, I was like, which is a scary thought. But also, I mean, it is really a beautiful thing of like, we have with just YouTube, I mean, we have almost 10 years of content like categorized that you can go and look back on. And I think that's really cool. And I think more people should look at it less of like an investment of money and more like this is an investment in like your memories.
Yeah, that's a good angle.
Really good angle.
And I mean, like,
looked at it that way.
if things go well, that $500 you spent, you can make back. I think it's generally possible for anybody to make money on their content if they're willing to put in the time and research. And I think another part that goes into that is it's really, really hard to understate the importance of having a team like with you. Because like, imagine if you were doing all of Dustin's work and all of my work and all of Shannon's work, like everything would just be so much lower level, where it's like, if you have the people that you know are good at something, like talk to them, work together.
Okay, that's a great question. I'm about to put myself on blast. But when you don't have money,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have time, how was I able to, like, I have paid you a few times.
Yeah.
I added up how much time you spent. It's not even in the ballpark of what I've paid you up until this point. You know, like you've just done me so much kindness. How does someone find their Tyler? How did I convey my value to you in the future? The same way I did with Dustin. Like but how does someone do that when they don't have money to offer, but they feel like inside of them there's something special?
So there is people that are good at things on every level. Like, I'm sure there is editors that are like movie level editors that just don't have anybody to work for. And I mean, especially here in Iowa, we live in such a space to where it's like, there's not that many people doing what we're trying to do, but you can like, there is groups online that you can join. You can go and talk to people and you can, one moment, still manning the camera.
This guy does it all.
This guy does. You gotta get yourself a team. But Tyler's doing it all. Let's check that one. I'm gonna check that one.
But when the
Yeah.
team is the podcast,
Team's on the podcast and they show
But I think
And we're good.
it's just about creating relationships. And like when we started working together, I was significantly worse than I am now, but having like the opportunity to do more work has made me better at everything. I'm better at production. I'm better at editing because I've had those hours to put into it. And granted, it is not necessarily easy to find people that are willing to like put their time into you. But I think if you form those relationships with people and, garner that respect and that friendship, it's not like I'm wasting time. Like, I enjoy hanging out with you guys. And it's like, if we were just hanging out not on a podcast, I would have just as much fun. So this is just a way to like, we can monetize that time together and we can do something that I think overall will affect the greater good.
I think the real answer is you just gotta find a good friend that's good at this.
Also, I mean,
Well, it took time. Like we started spending a majority of the time when we worked together. I hired him,
And then eventually things switched, and he ended up being my boss for a bit before I quit. But
I mean, I think it is. I want to interview someone like this, right? And you become friends with them.
yeah,
I mean, you're really looking for. I mean, I think when you get started, if you're looking for, to do this whole content, you really are looking for guys like Tyler that you can really hang out with, have fun with, be friends with first,
yeah,
and then it kind of goes into the whole business thing of like, hey, I got this idea, I got this plan, I got this, I got it. And I think that's what you've done. Ethan. I think
I've done that with
For
everything.
I
But
mean,
they say not to work with, don't do business with your friends. Like that is one of the number one stereotypes. Don't do business with your friends or family.
Yeah, and I think it takes a special. I mean, I think there's boundaries, right? I think we all have those boundaries, and we have a trust. And I think you've laid that out we've laid that out together about things and how to do business and how to conduct business. But I mean, I think with Tyler, for example, just with me just looking in, because I was like, the third wheel, if you will. I'm coming in way after 8 years.
Yeah, we had been
of
4.
So I mean, just seeing you guys work together, even in this whole process for me is just like I just saw a bunch of dudes that are great friends. They have a vision. You both have a vision. Your vision is you want to do this more.
Yeah.
You want to be in this podcast. This is the world you live. You have a vision of taking over the world of real estate and everything else, and so travel the world and so you're sitting there going, dude, I could be an influencer. I could help get my message out. because there's a bunch of dudes out there just like me that had nothing.
Yeah.
Like your story is awesome. And so I think you're like, I got this. You like, let's team
That's what it
up.
was.
Yeah.
That's literally what it was.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also, you don't have to find someone who's like the best they could possibly be. People learn. Like people, it was like, because
Find the heart.
it was like, if you're just starting out, you can't expect everybody else on your team to be an expert.
And especially if you're not paying.
Yeah, it was like, so it's like, to some degree, you do have to like understand where you're at and like be upfront and honest about that. Cause it's like, you've never presented to me like you are doing more than you are. You've always been very forthright and forthcoming with what you're doing and what you want to do. And I think that is a huge basis on like, you've never been like, in 4 months, I'm going to give you $10,000 for your work. And I think that's where people start running into issues, is they start making a bunch of promises that they have no backing for. And I think that's when people start to like butt heads and run into issues of like friendship and business overlapping. But I think if you're just honest with everybody around you and you point out, this is what I want to do and I think we can get here, I think that's the best place to start in like forming those relationships and like growing together, like you said. Because I mean, no one started out like perfect at what they do. No athlete, actor, producer, nobody started out perfect. They all started on 0 hours and worked their way up. And I think
let me ask this then. While we're on that, I mean, so this, you kind of had this idea kind of growing up of what you want to do. Like now after meeting, today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before, like, where do you see your vision has obviously grown. It's been, we're doing things.
Yeah.
You're doing things, we're doing things. And so what do you see, where do you see this taking you? What's your ultimate goal? I mean, where do you really, really want to make this? I mean, Ethan's going to help, right?
Yeah.
You're going to help, I'm going to help. You're going to do the work. So what do you think?
So what I would like to do, and we've talked about a little bit, is I feel like the next step after this is a production company. Because like we were talking about, there is a threshold for people to get into content. And if we have the space and equipment and people have time and money, then we can come together and help people make really good content. And that just like, it helps them. It helps us. We make use of the space and equipment we have because we're not using it 24/7. And that, it opens up a whole new avenue for like not only helping monetize our work so we can do bigger and better things, but it also helps people get their foot in the door of content and they can be like, oh, I can do this. This is a possibility. It's not this out of reach goal that is unobtainable. It is perfectly well within my reach if I'm willing to take the time.
I'm thinking more like you want to be the people that create the content, or you want to be the one that teaches people how to create the content?
I think
monetize both.
I think both would be really cool. I personally really like the back end side of things. What really fascinates me about content and about like filming and shooting in general is like there's so many different ways to go about things and so many different forms of content that I would love to learn how to like something I think would be really cool for you guys to do in the future is like a game show style show. I even came up with a name called Realty, kind of a pun on Jeopardy, but they can't sue us. And I think it would be cool to like have people come in and then present them with like a project and like, how much did this cost to rehab from here's before, here's after, and kind of have a game show style on that to like, it not only, you know, gives people a chance to show off their knowledge, but also give that knowledge to other people in like a fun environment. Yeah. Cause
That's kind of cool.
yeah, I was like, cause I really like podcasts and I know a lot of people really like long form content, but there are people that like the flashy lights, big, you know, lots of things happening and they absorb information better that way. And so I feel like if we can create multiple streams so everybody can absorb the content, that is like ideal.
So you dropped a little bit of the bomb with the
Yeah, a little bit.
Next week, you gotta find us that warehouse. So he's this. No, we've been talking about this for like
So this is
6
where
months. This is one of those things. Yeah, well, our partner, which can't say out loud quite yet, but he wants 15 to 20,000, and we'll attach onto that.
Gotcha.
So one of the spaces I think we sent you was like 33,000,
Yeah.
33,000, yeah. And so he could take up a bunch of that, and then I don't think we're gonna need 13,000 square feet of space.
No, I don't think
But-
so.
Yeah, probably like 5,000.
That's what I was
5,000 would be
thinking.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Couple offices.
Yeah, whatever.
Office, studio, stuff like that. Then storage.
And then just have everything.
Right
Like
there.
offers so many different products. You know, if you just want to come in and use the space, flat fee. You have your own gear, flat fee. You know, if you want to come and use the space, don't have your gear, want to use our gear, there's another fee. You know,
Yeah, it was like,
just kind of be able to. Because even today, I've seen Instagram posts where this like videographer here in Des Moines and photographer, he's like selling his cameras, and I guess he got a bunch of DMs where people thought he was going to quit, and it's just like I could just send a DM to him or ask him to come out one time, and then just pay him $100, bring him to the studio, let him see what's there, and then in the future, like, hey, we charge $100 normally to our shooters, we'll charge 75, and you can get 20-25% of whatever revenue that you bring in when you bring a client in to shoot. Just go wild with that. And if you make the rooms designable in a way, they can consistently be changeable with like different wallpapers. Or
yeah.
whatever the case may be. You can have one podcast that can do like 7 to 8 different things that have completely different background, and so it looks all very custom to the individual podcast itself rather than just looking like the same one.
I think,
Spill the beans, man. Just kind of showing the world here.
Well, I'm saying they can come in.
yeah.
We're the only ones that can do this.
It's kind of like,
We will down to that.
like you and I were talking about the other day about like how you get very creative with your financing. And I think monetizing your content's the same way. Like there is so many different avenues of monetization of content. Like it doesn't all have to be ad revenue or brand deals. Like there's ways that you can monetize your content of bringing people in and letting them watch and learn. You can, provide a course to teach people how to make content. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of fall short in their journey is they can get the subscribers, they can get the views, but they don't know what to do with them. Because it's like, if you have 10, 20, 30,000 people watching, surely you should be able to monetize that in some way. Because I mean, you go to these seminars and stuff, and there's like, 100, 200, 250, 300 people, and they've found a way to monetize their content on 200 people. Then if you have 20,000 eyes on you, like there is a way to monetize it. And I think there's this like misconception that working for yourself or working independently is like easier than a 9-to-5. If you are looking for the easiest possible money, a 9-to-5 is the way to do it. Like you will get a check every 2 weeks. You know how much you're going to get paid. That is the easiest money ever. But if you have the like time and effort and motivation to put into it, you will enjoy making money a lot more doing your own independent thing, and the ceiling becomes so much higher on how much you can make. So there's safe, and then there's going for the stars. And a lot of people enjoy the safety, and I respect that wholeheartedly. I mean, I think I assume all three of us grew up on like our parents doing very safe jobs, they knew they could take care of us and all of that. And I think that is fantastic. And I respect everybody who does their 9 to 5 and provides a service for the world that makes it necessary to work. But there's no reason there needs to be 30 Starbucks in a city and not 30 independently owned coffee shops. Like yeah, exactly. And so people need coffee. And I mean, you order it all from the same place, but I would much rather support this guy I went to high school with and hung out with in his coffee shop than, paying the company that's paying him $10 an hour.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. So you're still working part-time though?
Yes.
Right? Did you have, no, we've talked about it, and this is why we've been talking about it. How are you kind of trying to plan your escape route permanently?
So like we were talking about with the production, I think that is going to be a way to monetize our content in a pretty like heavy manner, to where we can bring in a monthly amount that is comfortable enough for me to step away. Because, I never suggest somebody like just goes absolutely for broke and like leaves their job when they're not already monetizing their side gig. Like, make sure you can take care of yourself.
Especially if you got kids.
Yeah, if you have kids or a family, like, don't get
Those are excuses too. Like,
Yeah.
I got kids, I got a job, I
But
got family, I ain't got time.
When you have those days off, you can't just be like, oh, I'm tired from working. You have to keep working. And, that part's going to suck, working a job and working independently. But it kind of comes back to that like safety. Like, if you want to be safe and, have your time off, that's fine. But I personally dream of a life to where when I get to, in my 30s, I can be comfortable. I can go on vacation when I want to. I don't have to stress about like my finances for like, the necessities in life.
Mm-hmm.
And, that sounds like very, to a lot of people, I'm sure that sounds very like, well, of course you're going to have that. But I think the sad truth is it's like, not a lot of people have that. Like, there's a lot of people that when they're at 30, they're getting paid the same as their 22-year-old coworker, and they've been getting paid the same for the last 5 years. And because I feel like a lot of companies try to do this thing where they're like, we're your family and these are your friends, and don't talk about your paychecks. And these companies don't care about you. Like, if someone can come in, it's like if someone can come in and do the same job for cheaper, they are going to hire that person because, the CEO doesn't know your name. His bottom line is money. And so I don't want to be a CEO's piggy bank for the rest of my life. Yeah. And that's just kind of, I think that comes into my life philosophies and stuff like that. But I feel like most people feel the same way, but I don't know how many people are willing to put in the time and effort and, late nights, early mornings. It sucks.
It really does.
We just had this conversation because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they might be working their full-time job, they might be working a part-time job, whatever the case be, but they're just, head down, tail up, right? They have to be hungry. It's survival, right?
Yeah.
And you always say your first 2 years, 3 years, that's when you're, that's when all 90% of businesses and whatever the stat is, go belly up, right?
Yeah.
And we talk to keep moving. and that's when they fail, right? And
Yeah.
I think, I think it's important that you got to go after it, right? Because else you'll fail. But then there becomes this point where, and I know I've been feeling this way, where I've been in the hunt for so long, like, and I'm just
Tired.
just in it, right? All in it because I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, all these hours, all these years, all this dedication, and trying to build this whatever it may be, and so now it's like you don't want to let go of that, right?
Yeah,
So you're
100%.
sitting there just and of course along the way you've had these habits of just not doing anything, not thinking about much other than
Yeah.
And the hunt. Yeah.
than the hunt, right?
Yeah.
And so and then you have these kids, and you're like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take care of them, but you're just so laser locked. Right?
Yeah. No, 100%.
And then then you're like, man, I gotta be more present. I can't be just mentally just always in this in this lane, if you will. So now you have to like diversify a little bit. But I think one of the things that I've come to the realization here lately, and of course people tell you this, but I went on a little vacation, right? And holy cow, man! Like I highly, highly, highly recommend entrepreneurs, even when you might not be able to feel like you can afford it. Like there's ways to
Take
get
a break.
away
Oh.
and really take that time, because I think there's so we got a podcast
Just
on
literally on
this.
this single topic.
on this single topic, because I think as entrepreneurs, you just go, and it's like Groundhog Day, man. It's like every day it feels like the same day, the same grind, and then next thing you know, you might lose that possible fire and that that creativity, and you just have to. But here's what this is what I learned
on vacation.
on vacation. I was sitting there, and the thing that I loved about it the most was it gave my brain permission to stop. And it took, here's another thing. It took me 3 days. Like I was on vacation. Luckily it was like 8-day vacation. Dude, I couldn't shut the crap off until like third day.
I
Right?
told you I'd stop texting you, and I did. I
Right?
didn't text
It's the
you a
third-
single time.
Here's the other side of it. What you just said. So one thing, it allows you to shut it off. The second thing it allows you to do is everybody in your world, you get permission to have them know that you shut it off.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that right there,
There.
that was it. It was,
Yeah.
it was, I feel good because I'm going to shut it off. But more importantly, it's the world
Agrees.
agrees that you should shut it off.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right? And I'm like, I was like, I didn't care. Like,
Yeah.
it was freedom, because I knew everybody in my world was like, and that's what the world, he's on vacation. He's on vacation. Entrepreneurs don't take vacation.
Yeah.
But a person that works 9 to 5, they take a vacation. And when they're on
100%.
vacation, the corporation doesn't call them.
100%.
So why the hell are we doing that? So it was awesome. So like before I went on vacation, man, I was telling my clients, I was telling everybody, hey, I'm going on vacation. This is awesome. And I've never done it before. I was the hider. I was like the,
You
guy that
sneak away.
the
from your-
sneak away.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want them knowing I'm on vacation, because I work all the time. I'm like, screw that. I'm going to be on vacation. And my clients, they were like, how's vacation? And we just had a good time. And two things, man. I learned, and I was sitting there on the next to the pool. I'm like, holy cow! Like, this is freedom. This is true freedom, because I can literally read a book, do whatever I want, and not have to answer anybody. So I don't know, a little tangent there, but
No, I agree wholly. I feel like some of my best ideas have come after a period of just being able to shut my brain off for a few days, because you might see something and grow an idea, but you get to let it rest and you get to add to it instead of acting immediately. Because I feel like a lot of people, they get in this mindset to where they have to act immediately or they're going to lose something. And I feel like that's where a lot of mistakes come in, and a lot of people, make the wrong decision because they feel pressured to, like, I have to do this right this second. Where if, you take a day to think about it, you might come to a completely different conclusion. So I fully agree. And, I'm all for putting in the hours, but you gotta take time for, if you have kids, if you have a significant other, you don't want to lose the things you appreciate in your life just because you are like on the grind 24/7.
Especially with content creation.
Yeah.
My god.
Anything that I can't imagine how much energy
create.
right that you guys constantly have to be.
Nobody thinks about that. Real quick.
Yeah, I was like,
Content creators get really underplayed for just. They think it's just there's not the wheels turn. There's not like we put something in our heads together that is completely non-existent, then act it out, then edit it out, and then have the cojones to put it out and let everybody else judge it.
I've always said, I've always said for every hour of content, there's probably at least 12 hours of planning that like went into that. Yeah.
I want to piggyback on the vacation thing because I've already been a big believer.
Yeah,
I've been practicing that for a while. But I look at the way you said it was really good too. But I've always looked at it like when my tank is drained and like I'm having troubles visualizing, and I'm a big believer in visualizing what my why was and like what I want my life to look like. So when I go on vacations, I very much so live the lifestyle I want in the future. So I don't really care about how much money I spend. Like I normally spend too much money or I'm gone for too long or whatever the case is. I like to like surround myself with what that why really looks like. And it's like the only thing I can see is what I want for my future. So then when I come back, it's just like, okay, I'm hungry again. And I'm
refill with fuel, and it's like.
But I think you know, I think that's great. But the problem is, I think some people they get in this low, right, and they don't even realize they're in it. They don't even realize they're in the funk.
Yeah.
Right?
It usually takes someone else pointing it out.
And they're like, just because they're in that grind and they don't realize what that could look like. And you get to force yourself to get out of that. So having it start and finish, right? So everything, you know, goes by days, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, quarters, years, right? So think about that. Why is that? Everything's measured by time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain measurements that determine what that period of time is. So, and I really think, you know, some people say a month or two, you know, every quarter or whatever, but man, having that on the calendar, like since we've been back, like I'm going vacation
This weekend.
Yeah. I just got back like 3 weeks ago. So I'm going again for 3 days. And I think, but here's the cool thing is when I left, I knew this, you know, on Saturday we're leaving. So guess what it's a sprint. So now I'm able to focus and sprint until Saturday. You know, and now, because now when I'm there, I shut it off for 3 days. Yeah. And then the next one, we're going to Disney. We already got this. We're going to Disney in November. So for 10 days. So I told my wife, I said, honey, we're going on. It's going to cost, you know, $10,000 or whatever. So not only are we going to be gone, but we're going to be spending some cash. So now it's like goal setting applies to that sprint. So now we sprint for another, you know, now I think we won't sprint every week, you know, vacation. We're kind of like catching up, but so let's go.
That's money calling.
Insert on live.
You're okay.
So time out. No. So I think that sprinting is just having that in goal, work hard, try to, you know, plan all these goals in between there, and then once you're there, then you can, like, you know, you can say is reevaluate and then come back and be like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, I've always been a very like self goal orientated person. I feel like that is the best way to get work done. Like when I sit down to edit an episode, I'm like, I want to get through this much before I get up and do anything. So I'm like setting that limitation on myself that it's like, you need to get to here before you get off and go do something else. And then, you know, you feel good when you accomplish that. And then if you don't, you kind of have this feeling of like, I let myself down, which I think is to a certain degree a healthy feeling to have, because I feel like if you allow yourself to cut time off or like not reach your goal and you just keep doing that, that's where the like excuses start to come in. And I feel like it's very, very healthy to hold yourself to a certain regard, especially if you know you can do something.
Sure.
Like if you are fully aware that you are capable of something, then I think setting those goals is perfectly fine. And like we talked about earlier, failures happen. It's bound to happen. If you have achieved every goal you've ever set out for life, start playing the lottery, because those odds are insane. Like, so yeah, I think having goals, and especially like vacations and stuff like that, it gives you like, I want to have this figured out by this time period. So when I go on this vacation, I can relax, I can unwind, I can disconnect. Where it's like, if you start to fall short of those goals, then it's like, you know, you get to spend less money on vacation, you get to have less fun.
Yep.
And so those self limitations, I think, are very, very good to set. And I think that a lot of people, like you were saying, fall into this like low where they don't realize it. And that's when they start like coming short of their goals, feeling that burnout, feeling the like mental health drain. And that's when it's like,
you don't even realize.
How do you recognize
You
that?
don't even realize it's happening. Well, your attitude sucks, right? You start, you could tell, you know, ask a friend, right? You're not connecting with your friends as much. You're kind of isolating. You're kind of grumpy, right? I mean, these are things that I just get snippy with my kids.
yeah.
You know, like,
Do your kids recognize? I mean, I guess, how do you tell yourself you need to chill? Or who's that person that normally comes? Because that's why I like having a team. Like when you brought up the vacation for yourself, every time I tell my vacation, my team, or especially with what's been going on recently, I was like, you guys, I gotta go. Everyone was like, go.
mm-hmm.
How have you done a good job at nurturing those relationships, so when you do feel like you have to disappear or you want to disappear for 10
I
days,
think
that you get that approval?
I think the way you do it is, you know, it's like anything else. You know, you're encouraging, empowering other people to do the same thing, right? You're around your people, around, you know, like when I text you, dude, I'm going over here, dude, that's amazing. You sent it back, dude, that is awesome. So excited for you. I don't know what you said exactly.
I'll try not to reach out.
I'll try to remember not to reach out to you while you're gone. Good for you, man.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah.
That's all the response was. Yeah, I remember.
Like it was immediate, like almost like a congratulatory, like good for you, dude. Like, so it goes back to the environment. We create this environment where, and we talk about how important it is to have this reset, right? And as long as everybody understands that, but here's the key. When you're back in the game, you've got to be back. You got to be back. You can't be jacking around and be like, dude, you're sucking it up when before you're sucking it back. Dude, you're just not holding it.
You're just sucking.
That's not terrible, you know. But if you're busted and your team knows, like, we're all, you know, everybody all in, then, dude, man, the body can only do so much.
Yeah.
I think everybody feels the same thing. And a lot of times, you know, when people, not that you're envious of people that go on vacation, but there is a part of you that's kind of envious.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're like, dude, you almost feel like you want to be that person. You're like, man, I just wish I could be that person. Then you start realizing you can be that.
Wait, I can.
You just have to figure out how to do it within
your realm.
Within what you're doing. Yeah, your family, your realm, your whatever, your schedules. But I think it goes back to that, just really being intentional in looking at your calendar and looking at parts of your life and when things may be crazy and when things may be down, and just not being crisis managing it, and just being like, okay, like the fact that we have, you know, like, why not plan a year and, you know, get it out there.
Yeah.
You know, really look at, I mean, there's holidays that they don't change.
They don't change.
The birthdays don't change.
Yeah.
You know, there's things that don't change. But why don't we put in motion something that is just part of, we're creating our own life. Like, why can't we, like I said, it doesn't have to be all this money. It's just you're asking for permission to let yourself stop and just be present and letting the world know that you're taking this time. And I think we need to have a vacation every month.
Yeah.
Week every month, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I think,
I agree.
I don't think you've put it out there yet, but when you said you're going on this most recent vacation where you're going to be gone for a while, when you started telling people initially, you were very like timid about like their response, but every person I've seen you talk to, and me included, like they're like, yeah, you've earned this. You've 100% earned this. And I think as you've gotten that response more, you've been more like excited to tell people. And I think it's hard for you as an individual, for anybody as an individual to like look at your work and be like, I deserve a vacation. I deserve to take this time off. But I think that's why having a team of friends around you is really nice, because they're going to be honest with you. If they feel like you haven't earned it, they're going to tell you. Whereas like in your case, everybody you've told has been like, yeah, you deserve this. You should 100% do this because you have earned it. And I think we all genuinely believe that. And so I think that's why, like, I know a lot of people say you shouldn't do business with friends, but those are the people that are going to be honest with you if they're actually your friends. Now, granted, if all of your friends are just yes men that like only come to you when you're like going out to do something or going out to dinner and you don't feel like you can have like a real conversation with that person, they're probably just going to tell you what you want to hear. But I think it is so important, and so I cannot overstate it enough, that having people around you that you trust and you can look to for advice and for reassurance is so important. It is so, so important. And I think in any case, you should always take time for yourself. Don't let your relationship with your family or your significant other or anything like that suffer just because you feel like you want to put in 3 more hours. Like take that hour to sit down and talk with the people you love, see how they're doing, reassure them that, I'm sorry, I've been super busy lately, but I still love and care about you. And if you ever need anything, please reach out, especially because as you get older, like, when you are in your early 20s and your teenage years, you spend a lot of time with friends. And, as you grow up, that time gets a little bit further between because, we grow up, people get married, people move away, people have jobs and careers that they have to focus on. But it's very important to remind people that it's like, nothing has changed with us. Yeah. I'm still going to be there for you. You need me to come to you. I will do that, or at least as much within my power as I can. And, that will help your mental so much to have that reassurance from people you trust and care about.
And to tap onto the team thing. Oh, go ahead.
I got one other question. Yeah. It's kind of shifting gears, but with the content thing, I mean, obviously we're more predominantly real estate.
Yeah.
But in your, I guess, what's the ideal content creation business? Like, you're helping us create content for real estate, but there's certainly a lot of other businesses out there that are creating content outside of real estate, right? So for their businesses. So what's your desires? Where do you see, where's your passion in terms of creating content for business? What does that business look like?
So I think
personal, right?
In an ideal world, I think the coolest thing ever would be traveling around all over the country, the world really, and meeting people that have found success in different avenues and just learning from them and letting them share their stories. Because like, there's so many amazing people in the world that have done insane things. And like, just the opportunity to talk to people that have accomplished feats that I wouldn't even know where to begin, like, is insane. Like, I'm pretty content in the fact that I'll probably never be in the Olympics, but it's well within possibility to interview someone who's been in the Olympics and let them share their story with me and, I mean, everybody else in the world. And I think there is...
Cool.
Yeah, I was like, I think there would be.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, just
Cool.
and also I love travel. I think experiencing a brand new place that you've never been to before, even if it's like on a small scale as a new city, is just there's nothing like that. There's nothing like throwing yourself in unfamiliar territory and just forcing yourself to learn. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I love that. To go back to the team thing real quick, I think it's nice, or it's more possible to happen when everybody in the team knows what they're supposed to be doing. So that when the person that's leaving is gone, everybody else knows kind of where they have to pick up. And you'd mentioned this most recent one, and I think, granted, there's a lot of things going on, and I do still travel quite a bit, but I am pretty open about how normally late I stay up, or like late. I like the reading, or constantly going to real estate seminars. Like this is all I do.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit easier. And Dustin knows this, when you have a team member and that team member is like in love with the idea and the vision that the business is going. And so if that person comes to you, right, they're in love with your idea, and they're like, I need some time, or like something's not clicking, or it's not working the way I'm not where I need to be, and for this to work the way we want it to, I got to be there. I think that just creates a lot more freedom and like understanding of
100%.
You go do that because I want you, and if you're not you right now, then you got to go get back to that. And as soon as you can come back, we'll have open arms ready and waiting for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I don't know. Makes me emotional.
Nailed it.
Yeah, it was like, I think something that I'm sure many people have told you before, but you've done such a good job at like curating a team for doing what you need to do. And like, I don't think I've ever met someone who has so many people that are just like, I believe in what you're doing and I got your back no matter what. Because it's like, I think when meeting and talking to you, seeing the passion and potential when you speak about the things you care about is like, it is unrivaled. Like, there is so few people I've met that have such a passion for what they do. And I think that's part of the reason where it's like, I'm willing to invest my time in you because like I've seen much less passionate people succeed. So like, if they can do it, you can definitely do it.
No, I really do want to say thank you to Tyler. I mean, I have paid him, but like not even close to the amount of hours. And when I couldn't, I try to verbalize that, or I try to buy food, or we'd go out eat, whatever the case may be. But Tyler's going to be with us for a long time, and I really look forward to like getting to make content in the future where we get to reminisce just about shooting with whack cameras and just homemade tripods, and it feels really good.
Yeah.
And the traveling stuff, like it's only a matter of time till we get to do that together. And so like hearing other people visualize like what I'm already, it's amazing. And I'm super happy to have both these guys on my team, and there's so much more to come.
Just getting started, man.
Just getting started. You want a way to wrap us up, bro? Producer?
I do. I just have one question for you guys that I would like to ask. So I used to do a podcast a little bit ago, and we had a staple question, and I'd be curious to hear your guys' answer. It's a little bit more lighthearted, so don't expect anything too heavy. But so if you were in a food court with every restaurant you've ever eaten at, what would be your ideal plate?
You can get multiple.
Yeah, whatever you
Steak,
want.
baby.
What?
Steak.
You're so American.
Steak. Why?
What else? Steak. You get an entire plate, every restaurant. All you said is steak.
Vegetables.
You're like, yeah, okay, let's hear the wrap.
Oh, you get the whole deal.
Yeah, multiple
Yeah.
sides, anything you want.
Anything you've
That's why I
ever
said
eaten.
Steak, vegetable,
All vegetable, like a plate of vegetables.
Yeah, like a side of vegetables, man.
Yeah.
Carrots,
Oh,
broccoli.
okay, got it. Yep.
Mashed potatoes,
Okay.
but like a loaded, like
Like
butter,
the filled to the brim.
bacon, like good stuff. Like
Okay.
loaded up,
Yeah.
Iowa style. Loaded
Yeah.
up. I think with that vegetables, asparagus,
Oh,
couple deals there.
Yeah.
Or like a big old greasy sweet corn.
oh,
Dude, I
That's
love
good.
sweet corn.
That's good. That's
sweet
good.
corn, like already done with this.
Yeah,
so
the
you
things
don't
in
do
them.
much other than grab the sticks, and just
Yeah.
there's something to be said about
Yeah. Corn on the cob.
corn on the cob's a bomb, right? So we got. I mean, you can have corn, but corn on the cob,
It's just better.
it's just
It's
better.
better. It is.
It's just an experience trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think something like
dessert. You need dessert.
that.
to tap it
Yeah,
up?
dessert. Yeah, for sure. I think there'd be. I'm not really a pie guy or that kind of stuff.
Brownies.
Not really. I mean, I just ice cream, like Oreo,
Ice
like
cream.
an Oreo ice cream
Okay.
mix.
All right.
I'm pretty simple.
That's really good. I'd have das Doner, a doner kebab, which is like lamb meat. They shave right off the
Oh,
lamb.
like from the shawarma. Yeah.
And then they call them euros here, but they're like a hand me down.
Yeah.
Version.
Yeah, cousin version. Not cool.
Not cool.
I have that. I'd have some I really like the Noodles and Company mac and cheese. And then just to be crazy, I'd get like the Chick-fil-A nuggets and have them chopped up. And there's Euro that I'm gonna have to steal the corn. I'd really like the corn on the cob's a good one. And then those grapes that you eat that you could like shoot at someone, you feel like they'd like break skin.
Oh, yeah,
Super
yeah.
rock solid grapes.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite. A mango as well. And then Zombie Burger has this peanut butter banana chocolate milkshake. It is fire. Amazing. That would be mine. What's yours?
So I would get some Wendy's spicy nuggets, and they have a ghost pepper ranch that is super good. I would get a chalupa from Taco Bell. Yeah, bro. Don't worry. And then I would get a really nice pork katsu from a Japanese restaurant. I'm impartial to which one, as long as it's delicious and tasty and crispy. And then probably from this Thai place that me and Ethan have gone to.
Flavors.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I would get their Thai spicy noodles, and probably at like a 4 out of 6. It's very good.
I'm
And
hungry.
for
Yeah,
for dessert, I'm actually gonna steal sort of from you. I'm gonna get the Zombie Burger milkshake, but I'm gonna do the chocolate cake one. That one's super good.
It is cake
Because I like the taste of chocolate cake, but kind of like you, I can't really have like a whole big slice of chocolate cake.
Yeah.
But if you blend that up with some ice cream, I
that.
can do that. I can do that.
Fair.
I think
That
that's
was a
a-
good question.
I think that's a wrap.
That's a good question. That's a wrap. All
But
right.
yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, until next episode 8, we'll be back soon. Thanks so much for watching.
Peace.